What is going on, you guys? Steve with the video for you today. So today we're gonna do a hobby talk and do some shout outs. So a couple shout outs here. The first shout out I want to give a shout out to is Callie and Jordan Squad. So Callie and Jordan Squad, they've been a supporter to my channel for a long, long time. And on that channel, I know you do. I see them do a lot of pack openings and uh, tap into the PC a little bit, a couple autographs, but they do a lot of baseball and hockey. I believe they're up in Canada too, and I see a little bit of NASCAR. Love the hockey and I love the baseball, but I'm not big of a NASCAR kind of guy. Loved it back in the 80s and the 90s, with Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, those kind of guys, but kind of really fell off of it there with all the, how it is today with all the new rules and all that kind of stuff. And just, it's about as confusing as how the XFL always changes the rules up. But please go check out Callie and Jordan Squad. The next channel I want to give a shout out to is Chris S. Now, Chris S says he's been watching my my channel for about 3 to 4 months, he said. And a couple videos ago was the first time he made a comment on one of my videos. So he's been kind of just lurking back there watching. And thank you very much for that, Chris. And his comment on the video a couple comments ago is going to lead into my hobby talk discussion today. So, what's kind of interesting with what he said is he said it's great to know that there are people out there who still create content just for the love and passion of the cards and the game and all that. So I take that very personal, and I appreciate that, Chris. I do not sell. I don't flip. I don't invest. I just love having the cards. I'm very passionate about my collection, and I know I don't have a lot of high-end graded stuff, but what I do have, raw or graded, just absolutely love it. And I could sit here for days and hours and years on end just looking through cards. So that kind of leads me into what why I decided to choose a vintage as kind of my go-to. So first things first is, when I was a kid, I was not or even high school, whatever, I wasn't a good student. I was, probably a C student at best. And I might have had a few B's thrown in there, never really any A's, except one. I loved history. I was accelerated in history. I have no idea why I love studying world history, American history. American history is my favorite, which kind of leads me to baseball. So I always consider baseball kind of like American baseball. It's got such a deep and rich tradition, almost as deep as American history itself. And like American history, American baseball has this, it has a dark past. And American history, exact same thing. There's stuff in the United States of America we can be so proud about that makes us the greatest country of all time, in my opinion. But then there's also stuff that, we have a dark history that we don't like to talk about. And I just kind of can compare it. It's similar, in my opinion. But I just always found American baseball very interesting and love studying it. And kind of that leads into, as most of you guys know that follow my channel a lot, we've got a lot of 1950s, a lot of 1960s, 70s, 80s, and I do like the 90s as well. And I collect up to today still. And I always found for American, I love pre-war. I do have some pre-war in my collection. But I've always just been kind of magnetized or drawn to the 1950s and the 60s and the 70s for some reason. That's probably my strongest interest point of baseball. I don't know why. It's just kind of what I've always been drawn to. I don't know if it's, it's the Mantle, the Barras, stuff like that. But Ernie Banks, Hank Aaron, Stan Musial, Willie Mays, I think some of the greatest players came from that era. I consider that the golden age era of baseball. I know that's not what it is in the book, but the Maris. I was so fascinated reading about the Roger Maris home run record back in '61. Um, and then kind of I just want to lead up to today, and I love the '90s and the '80s, early 2000s. That was like my prime youth, and wouldn't I loved baseball. As the most I probably love baseball as in person. Um, but today's sport, I know a lot of people are very, I don't like the new stuff. I just don't get it. For me, and I understand that part before I get it further any further. I understand, there's a million parallels and all that kind of stuff, and 10 million different designs just by Tops and Panini. But I just like having the flagship card itself, the base of Tops. Mostly Panini, I'd be more on board with if they had copyright. If they're allowed to have the logos and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, today's cards, I feel like I'm putting into the history of baseball itself. Who knows? Mike Trout might go down as the greatest player of all time. I don't. Right now, he's not trending towards that his last 2 or 3 years of all his injuries, but that's just another topic, anyways. But just an example, it feel like I'm putting into tomorrow's history. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, that Chris S comment really kind of made me think. I was like, I should make a video on this and kind of say why I love vintage so much. And to me, today's cards are almost like vintage. It's just you're just gonna have to wait 50 years. But yeah, thank you guys for your support, and have a good day, guys. Take care.